Hey folks, it's F8, welcome back to another review here on the channel. Today we're looking at the, yes, F8 Crusader. Now, I can't quite decide if this is by ROLAND LABORIE or LABORIE ROLAND. It's LABORIE ROLAND in the actual documentation, but on SimMarket it is ROLAND LABORIE. So, who knows? I'm sure someone will correct me. But this is €31, and it is the last gunfighter, the F8 Crusader. A single-engine, supersonic, carrier-based air superiority fighter built for the US Navy and the Marine Corps, and it fought for the French Navy also. It first flew in 1955, it served mostly in Vietnam, and of course was an iconic aircraft, including crucial roles during the Cuban Missile Crisis. And they were still operated by the US Navy Reserve till 87 and 99 for the French Navy. Now, this aircraft, of course, doesn't shoot anything. It is flight simulator. Now, I'm sure if this is available in the marketplace, it will be minus every gun, because that's the thing. Oh look, the little jet I reviewed last week. Look how tiny it is in comparison to this. Huh. The JSX-2. How adorable. Now, I will say, the actual quality of the appearance and the modelling is gorgeous. This thing looks stunning. It has the usual chocks and pitot covers and flags that actually look rather nice, I must say. And of course, no pilot in the aircraft. So let's go inside and take a look. There have been some dog fighters released recently that aren't particularly nice. This one, I'd say, looks good. Very good, actually. I really quite like it. Now, I need to try and work out how to open the canopy. There we go. So once we're outside, that opens up, and the little step opens up as well for you. Now let's flip the battery on, which is over here, and I'm going to... oh, we need to put master generator on as well, I think. Power generator's on. Okay. So where's my fuel system buttons? Familiarization with every aircraft I fly is one of those constant, oh god, where do I find things? But thankfully I have the documentation sitting here, so if you ignore the beeping for a second, I'm looking for buttons 3 and 4, which are here. Parking brake on. Fuel flow. Where are you? This looks to be a button. There we go. Fuel control switch open. I think we just did a thing. It's going to be interesting to find out. No, you stay on. So that was 3. And 5 is the throttle. 6 is the master engine switch, which is coming online. Now we are going to unlock our wing, of course, because this aircraft, once I press the correct button here, does actually have the full wing lift system, which is used for takeoff and landing, based on what I've learned from the numbers. So let's... that is annoying as hell. Why are you beeping? Why are you beeping? You're really irritating. No, I don't know what you're doing. Is it because this is open? Let's close the canopy. It's still going to beep at me. I don't know what it's doing, but it's really irritating, and it kind of bothers me. Now, we do actually get a functional map system here, which I will get to in a second. Let's just fix ourselves, shall we? Oh yes, the in-flight refueling probe works as well. Now our map and HUD systems are back here, I think. There we go. Why are you beeping at me? And what is beeping? BLC. I don't know what that is. I don't know. Leave me alone. Do I have to turn the heat up or something? Why are you moaning at me? Okay, those are all on. Are you still beeping? You annoying son of a monkey? Okay, so we are back, and everything is operating as it should be right now. So we have our nav systems up and operating online now. I've went to the manual. There was a button I'd forgotten to press, of course. As we are looking good. So let's field transfer set as it should be. And not accurate to what the real thing would have, but hey, we actually have a navigation system of some sort. It's... why not? You know, I'm actually not against this as a system. So it gives us at least some... does this actually do anything? No, they just turn. But hey, you know. Well, at least we've got map range. That's useful. Okay, that's cool. I like that. Alright, so let's take this baby out for a flight, shall we? So, parking brake is released. Of course, we can jettison the canopy, as if we're basically ejecting. But we're not, so we probably better put that on again, shouldn't we? Yes. Okay, let's taxi her out to the runway. Now, because of how low the back end on this is, you've got to kind of fly off the runway rather than pull back and take off. Otherwise, you do smack the back end pretty nastily. Views are decent. You've got the over-the-gun sight view here. And we have, for some reason, an inconvenient down by the throttle view. But it is pretty for screenshots, and that's a taxiway. So let's get ourselves taxied down to the runway without further ado and take this thing for a flight. Now, I have noticed it is limited to about 600-700 knots, like a lot of aircraft in Flight Sim, which is unusual for what is a supersonic fighter. You'd expect it to be able to go supersonic. But overall, I will say the sounds are good. The lighting is on, which is unusual. I don't think I really want lighting on in the cockpit right now. If I could find out what the that button is, that would be wonderful. I haven't got time, so we'll deal with it. It's absolutely fine. Let's get ourselves taxied down here. We're at Vandenberg Air Force Base in California, and we are on completely stock scenery for this, so shouldn't be a major concern, but I do quite like the older jets that have steam gauges. They feel more visceral. Now you can turn off the targeting camera there. It would be a radar screen, unfortunately in this case, because it's an all-weather one. It'd be a radar, but here of course we've got a GPS. You know what, I'm not against it in terms of practicality for Flight Sim. Not terrible, but not necessarily realistic either. Let's get ourselves taxied. We're going quite slow here. Now our landing and takeoff speeds are about 185 for wing in this configuration, which should lift us off the runway pretty nicely. I have to make sure I do this very shallow. Otherwise, we're going to go crunch, crunch, crunch as we scrape the tail. I will say the aircraft has lovely sounds in flight of creaking jet, which do sound fantastic. Let's get ourselves ready for departure here at Vandenberg. We're going to go straight out onto 30 and line up and go. Let's make sure everything's working right here. In fact, we're just going to accelerate away from this. We'll end up on the center line because reasons. So wing is in full deployment for takeoff mode. And we're just going to hold back pressure until we fly away from the runway. Wing is restored to landing or flight configuration. Let's lock the wing back in place. Aircraft flies away very nicely, I will say. It is nimble, of course, but not too nimble. This is a big aircraft, and maybe that rattling is a little extreme. I'm not quite sure how I feel about it myself, but it's on the extreme end. So we're passing through 460, 470 knots right now. 500 knots. Let's see what we can get this baby up to, shall we? Let's maintain straight and level flight, passing through 560. About 3,400 feet right now. 596, just under 600, and it caps out just below 600 knots. So that is going to be our ballpark in terms of the aircraft's performance. Unfortunately, that's what it caps us at. Oh, my gear's still down. That's a problem. Do I go faster with the gear up? Science. No, the gear being deployed makes zero difference to my speed at full throttle. That's interesting. Yeah, that's an interesting one. Now, the aircraft does look good, but there's obviously not as much systems depth as perhaps one would want. And the speed cap is a problem, because that's not something that's limiting the sim at the moment, because there are aircraft that do go faster, or claim they do. Where are we heading to? Back here towards Vandenberg. There's my runway. Let's reduce power here. Now, as you'll see, we do have big speed brakes that do work whilst we're in the... Feels like ace combat right now. Let's do a brake. There we go. So Vandenberg's runway is off our nose right now. There it is. We're slowing down a bit too much here for where we are. But we're going to make an approach into Vandenberg. We need to make sure our wing is unlocked. Ready for us to actually utilise that. Now, approach should be 220 knots before we start to deploy anything, which should be down to 185. Which we can manage just fine here. The rattling maybe is a little on the extreme side. That's not something I really thought about, but it gets very rattly very quickly. Perhaps an extreme that might be a little on the far end of what would be not annoying. Like I said, systems depth isn't extreme, but at the same time it's not purporting to be a full systems depth aircraft. A lot of people do make comparisons to DCS, and that's fair. DCS is a dedicated combat sim where systems depth of fighters is important. Do you want a full systems depth fighter? Go fly DCS. Do you want to just fly around in a beautiful world of Flight Sim 2020? Is it good enough? Maybe. Is the sound a little on the annoying side? Yes. Oh, okay, we are definitely coming in a bit hot here. Let's reduce our speed. Put the gear down. Pull the spoilers in a second. Passing under 200. Let's get our wing deployed now into landing configuration here. Of course, this isn't a carrier, but it will certainly do the job. Let's see if I can land this bad boy. Coming in on a bit of a curved approach here. A little bit high. But I'm letting the speed bleed off here as we're maintaining about 185. We aren't able to deploy the speed brakes when the wing is deployed like this. So what we've got is what we've got. Let's try and maintain until we're over this pathway just in front of the glare shield there. And then we'll roll onto runway heading. Just neaten this up. Coming down to 150-ish, little notch of power. Let's keep the aircraft stable. These were not meant to be the most fun aircraft to land or take off with. They had some stability issues. I can tell why. A bit like a tail dragger. They're not landed till they're basically in the hangar deck. Okay, let's keep the nose up here. Fly it onto the runway. Keep it relatively level here, rather than trying to flare. Touchdown. Brakes applied. Aircraft slowing down now. That was actually a rather nice landing, if I do say so myself. So does it fly well? Yes. Does it have some annoying sounds? Yes. Could those be improved? Most likely will be probably tweaked a little bit, but considering the price tag and the fact the sounds don't change when the canopy's open, small problem. Is it worth 31 euros or equivalent US or sterling price? I don't think so. I think it is slightly overpriced. I will say it's a very nicely made aircraft. It looks great. Beautiful texturing. Nice little features. There's some things I would change. Like I said, the sounds do need to improve, both internally, with the canopy open is a problem, and the rattling is way too loud for every motion you make with the aircraft. It's nice at first, but when it happens every time you bank or roll, it's quite annoying. And for the depth of systems, price is a bit high. Now, I will say, this is nicely visible. That's a cool feature here with the map, I must say. I do quite like that. Where was the zoom again? Where was the zoom? Was that it? Yeah, that's it. There we go. Quite a nice feature. Realistic, no, but hey, it's a good use of it in a civilian simulator, which this is. Is it worth the price? If you really love the Crusader, yes. If you just want a beefy Vietnam-era fighter, I wouldn't say so. There aren't really any other options right now for flight sim, but I think adding another carrier-capable aircraft we can use with the HGS carrier add-on, yes, but still a little steep, I'd say. With the sounds fixed, with maybe some tweaks here and there, this would be worth the price if you're into that. But if you're not into that, I'd say it's on the steep side. I do like it. It's a cool aircraft. It's different. The lag between going external view, by the way, is interesting, because when you open the canopy or any switch like the refueling probe or wing inside, when you go outside, it's reset to closed and opens again, which is surprising. Like, it has to do it the first time it's in external mode. Weird, I know. Either way, what do I think? How would I rate this? Let's start a rating system, shall we? I'm going to rate it 6 out of 10. It is got potential. Quite a lot. It's not ready yet. But it's going to be dwarfed by anything for DCS. But what are you aiming for? Are you aiming for a jet, military jet in a civilian simulator, or are you aiming for a military jet in a military simulator? What do you actually want? There's your crux of the debate. Closing thoughts. Definitely a good start, going somewhere, and appears to be the first from this developer for the sim, so a great starting point. And as with many aircraft in the sim, the sounds let it down. Thank you for watching, guys, and hopefully you enjoyed this review and my fuddling around in the cockpit, but I actually wanted to make sure I started it properly myself this time, rather than not doing, and it's been interesting. So thank you for watching. Bye.